Hello and welcome to TableTakes presented by Gen Con. I hope you're all ready for some fun board game news today. But first, we're going to check in with our hosts and see what's up. We have a new face here with us today, Javion. So Javion, if you want to kick us off, then yeah, what's up? What's up with you?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, you might have remembered me from the times that I've guest appeared on the show. But I believe it was already announced that I am going to be a regular host now. I'm going to be on the show every week. That's right.
Yay!
Every week.
Yes.
Welcome.
Welcome, one of us.
Yeah.
One of us.
Thank you.
A new permanent host, I should have said. Yes.
Yeah, permanent host. But it comes with sad news because that means that Emma, you're not gonna be doing a permanent host here anymore.
There can only be one. We did trial by combat. And we had Davion and Emma fight to see who was going to be the host after this. And Emma had a noble but humiliating defeat.
And so that's a lie. It was not noble at all. Davion is very strong and very muscular.
It doesn't look like it.
Right.
It doesn't look like it, but
None
true.
He's unnaturally strong.
Oh my gosh.
And beat Emma. And so now
Emma.
Those are the rules of Gen Con. Those are the legal rules.
Yeah,
it's true.
You got to randomly battle us in both a Magic tournament, then a Pokemon battle, and then we do a VR session.
Yeah.
Solo RPGs.
Man. And
no,
then
Emma.
we do Jello wrestling.
Jello wrestling. Yes, Jello wrestling.
No.
Fun,
you mean nervous pudding?
Yes,
I found that's another term for Jello. Anyway, no, Emma's moving on to Emma is moving on to bigger and better and brighter.
Most amazing JDM joke ever.
Oh my god!
I literally stole it from Family Guy. Emma, tell us what you're moving on to. Tell us what you are going to be. What new exciting things are on the horizon for you?
Oh gosh. Okay. Back to me. Board games. I am a board game designer, as most of you probably know, and just spending a lot more time really ramping up on making games. None of which have been announced. None of the new ones have been announced yet, but 2022 is shaping up to be a pretty exciting year for Emma Larkin's The Board Game Designer. So Look forward to new stuff on the shelves coming soon.
So exciting. I got a chance to play test one of them and it's amazing. And I hope you guys like fun. I hope you guys like competition. And I hope you guys like bits because there's a lot of bits.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of bits, yeah. All right, so any other news, Javion, that you have about anything cool you've been doing lately, working on?
Emma, actually, I have a question for you. Have you been doing your DICE advent calendar?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. Because I have the first 2 days of December DICE.
Yeah.
We got this cute little D20.
Oh my gosh.
Yellow.
Okay.
And we got this D6, this red, my favorite color.
So this is really interesting. The calendars are different. They're not all the same because my dice, I opened my first two and I got this green like digital one.
Ooh.
And I got this like steampunk clockwork die here. But now we have to open day 3.
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Open day 3. Oh, I want an advent calendar. I don't have an advent calendar.
These are great. Javion picked one up for me at Mox Boarding House. It might be too late to get them now, but yeah.
Ooh. That's so cool. Look at that.
Ooh,
really
nice.
Cool. Yeah.
I have a kind of see-through
that's really cool. That's a D12
one. Yeah.
You never know if you're gonna get like a D12 or like a D6 or D10.
Yeah.
My calendar says the mosquito wakes you up. Roll for hand attack.
Oh, they say stuff? Oh my gosh.
Roll for hand attack.
More surprises and reveals.
I got an 18.
Success.
December 1st was Someone Needs a Hug. Roll for Love.
Yeah.
Aww.
I got that one too.
Oh, where's 8. That's okay.
That's not bad.
I go to
Pretty
hug
good.
It's a
I got a
side
one.
hug.
I got a 1.
It's kind of
Side
an
hug.
awkward side hug, and it's like really light. It's just like really
Yeah.
quick and light. So it's a hug, but not perfect.
This is great. This is I love this. Well, thanks for letting me show off my dice advent calendar.
All right.
Ooh.
Bonsai, on to you. What exciting
Oh.
stuff do you have for show and tell?
Hey, I brought show and tell. I got the Dune Imperium big box finally came in.
Ooh, fancy.
It's got all the special edition stuff. It's got all the figurines, custom
So cool.
figurines, plus card sleeves, worm
sleeves.
card sleeves, and sandworm like first player dice. It's like gold and stuff. It's too much to unpack out of the box because I have it perfectly put in there, but
You were getting a sandworm, like a little, like a little figure,
token one.
like a little thing in a jar.
That'd be cool. No, I mean,
What if it
actually,
was
that
like-
would, man. I
What if
didn't get a
it's a
stuffy.
little pet, but like a little miniature sandworm? So you had a little jar of sand.
Wouldn't
and
that
would
just be like
poke
a
its head?
parasite that goes into your
Yeah, but
isn't
it
the
would
closest
be-
thing to the sandworm is like a parasite that
leech?
lives in your stomach?
But it
Like
would be really
ringworm?
cute, and you would feed it little. I don't know. You would feed it, but yeah.
I'd
That's a
get
good
so
question.
skinny.
What do the sandworms eat? That's such a great question.
Spice.
Sand, Marcus, sand, spice.
Well,
they
no,
poop
yeah,
out
if-
the
if-
spice.
If
Yes.
the spice is
Okay,
their
right,
poop,
yeah,
if
true.
spice is their poop, then they have to eat the sand.
Well, no, they eat. They eat the
They call them
people.
sandworms because they live in the sand and they're worms in the sand.
The vibrations, they sense the vibrations for their prey, and that's an
Mhm.
animal or that's a person, so they come up from the sand.
Yes, that's true,
and
yeah.
eat the person. Although it doesn't make sense because there's tons of these worms out there and they're huge. How could they possibly survive? Just
Cannibalism.
eating, like,
No.
yeah, that's right. And wouldn't
Cannibalism.
they don't seem to have eyes, so they can't see anything. How would they know if they were eating another worm? Wouldn't they have all eaten each other by now? I don't know. I have a lot of questions.
There's a lot of
Yeah, it makes
Anyway, Isabella, how?
We're really off the rails today.
sense.
Discussions. I blame myself.
What's been going on with me? What a great question. Time has lost all meaning to me, so I don't really know. The only thing that I've been doing this week is I've been cleaning out my house, which is why it looks like a trash behind me, like a hoarder. But it's like this is the time of year that I actually really like because look at all these iPhones that I have had over the years. Why,
Oh, I thought you just
why-
bought a bunch of iPhones. You're like,
just have a bunch of iPhones now. No, but these are like all of my old phones. I keep upgrading every like other year and stuff like that. And so like that, I have a whole thing, a whole bin full of wires. I went through it. I was like, what do these wires go through? I completely forgot that over 2 years ago, I bought a laptop for a job and then they fired me 3 weeks in. So I still have this laptop. I'm sitting on so many things. I also have 3 different microphones before I decided on this one. I have so much technology around me and I have so much crap. Okay. I have the first vacuum cleaner that I bought when I first moved here, which is garbage. Okay. Like there's just so much stuff around me. This is the time of year that I go through. I love purging. I do a Marie Kondo.
Oh, yeah.
I
yes.
love just like clearing out things. So we've cleaned out the linen closets. The electronics are all ready to go. I'm gonna recycle them. This baggie is full of things that are gonna go to the recycling bin. And then we're gonna go to clothing soon, where I'm going to purge all my clothing, and then I think I'm going to do my kitchen and like what are the pots and pans. I think that this is a universal experience, but I feel like we all have that one baking sheet that has seen dark things.
Mhm.
And
Yes,
it's
true.
not even a baking sheet anymore. It's more just a rusted piece of aluminum. It
Got
needs
flavor
to
on
go
it.
on.
Aluminum and tetanus. That's basically
It
what you got
needs to
there.
pass. It needs to go on to greater baking pie things in the future. And so it's just a once a year. December is my time to like get things out. And so I've been doing that. Also, if you live in the greater Seattle area, you got to vote. Vote day is December. Where's my ballot? My ballot's somewhere around here. December 7th. Vote. It's coming up. The election to recall a council member is kind of a hot one. So don't forget about that one. Vote. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, you
So I
gotta
won't get in
give me some
trouble.
tips on purging because I am a hoarder. I have so much stuff in my apartment. It's way
Oh,
too
gosh.
small for all this junk.
I'm just gonna get you the Marie Kondo. I still have, I lent out the book, the textbook. I haven't gotten that back yet, but I have the graphic novel book, so I can lend that to
The
you.
graphic
And
novel?
yes, there's an
Okay.
illustrated Marie art of tidying up book.
Is it manga style? Please say yes.
Oh, please.
Is
I
she
think
super
so.
kawaii?
Oh my gosh, yes, yeah. I haven't watched the TV show, but I've seen clips and stuff. The meme I saw the other day was Marie Kondo. It's like, I love that, like you have so much mess. I love it. I love your house because it's so messy.
Yeah. I'm not a full Marie Kondo. Obviously, as you can tell, I still have so much crap behind me.
You have a lot of books.
But I do have a lot of books. She does read a lot, and she can't not buy a book. It's just impossible. But I think going through your electronics, though, it's very easy to go through that stuff because you just plug in the cord and you're like, what does this cord do? If you can't find, this is my tidbit, if you can't find what electronic that cord goes to, leave it alone, throw it away. And you think, but I need a mini USB-C. No, you don't. Put it away.
I just have a bag of tangled web of miscellaneous wires that can be reused at any point.
No, they can't. No, it's a what do they call it when the rats and their tails get all tangled together?
Rat King.
It's a rat king of charging cords. Okay, you got to throw it away. That's it. Okay. That's all.
All right.
To clarify, the life-changing manga of tidying up, a magical story. That's the book.
It is a manga.
Yeah, it's a manga and it's great. You should check it out. It's amazing. But yeah, so everything, we got dice, we got tidying up, we got a big box of Dune. We will get to the news, the board game news in just a moment. But first up, very important announcement. We have the Gen Con December charity stream, Coyote and Crow. The stream is happening right after TableTakes. And throughout TableTakes and also the show, we're going to have information for donating. We have the button and the link there that Bonsai had pressed. Yes, we have the Nightbot here. Coyote and Crow is a native creative TTRPG world with no colonization. We've talked about it many times on the show before. We talked about the Kickstarter. And the fundraising is for IRSSS, the Indian Residential School Survivors Society, which provides Indian Residential School Survivors Society services to the survivors of residential school abuse that took place during the colonization of Canada. And this is something also that we've talked about on the show before. Again, important to realize that this is not an ancient historical thing. These schools were open as recently as the 90s, I believe. So very recent trauma that's happened to this population and a very important cause to support. And this tabletop role-playing game is awesome. The Kickstarter is great. I backed it. I've been following all their updates. They're working on some really amazing stuff. So excited to see the stream after this show. So remember to tune in. We'll be going to about 3:00 and the stream's going to happen after that. So check it out. Thanks. All right. Up first in our headlines, Bonsai, do you want to kick us off?
All right. let me go ahead and kick this off. We're gonna go ahead and rip off this band-aid because we got some rough news that just like people have to be more aware of. I mean, the community is more aware of, but it's popping up more and more as we start to be more vocal about problems in very certain gaming communities. What I'm talking about is about 2 to 3 weeks ago, we weren't able to cover it when it was hot news because of the Thanksgiving season or feast day, I like to prefer to call it. Basically what happened, Games Workshop like basically has spoken out against after a group in, or sorry, let me get my sentence order. So in Spain, there was a Warhammer community run tournament that happened in GT called GT Talavera. I know, sorry if I don't pronounce that right. That stirred up a bunch of controversy. Basically, a player showed up to a tournament under the name Pintar. Well, basically, Pintar Austricato, basically meaning in Spanish Australian painter, a nod to Hitler. Austrian, not Australian.
okay.
Sorry, reading fast. Austrian, aka Hitler, scum of all earth. Wearing a jacket that had neo-Nazi symbols and a lot of very recognizable symbols that are associated with neo-Nazism. And what ended up happening was that person, despite complaints of attendees, wasn't immediately kicked out and removed from the gaming like basically the gaming area. So players who basically went against this person forfeited because they did not want to be associated with this kind of hate, this kind of like, you know, just this hatred that is Nazis. So in the defense of the people who put on the event, apparently they stated that there is a Spanish law that states that because they did not declare on the written rule that like we don't allow Nazis, even though that should be like a very, very clear thing, doesn't need to be stated, that they weren't legally allowed to kick somebody out based like for them based off of their behavior or ideologies. And yeah, so the whole idea, this has come up multiple times in the Warhammer community, Warhammer 40K, that this kind of like being really attracts this like far right neo-Nazi kind of ideal, and we want to remove that problematic feature from the fandom. And to quote Game Workshop directly, if you come to a Game Workshop event or store and behave to contrary, including wearing the symbols of real-world hate groups, you'll be asked to leave. We do not let you participate. We do not want your money. We do not want you in the Warhammer community. So the statement also further calls for the community-run events that should be an unwritten rule that is stated everywhere for all non-run events. The person, the Spanish person who offended, the person who offended this in Spain is forever banned from all events further on. So yeah, there's just a lot. Yeah.
I mean, I think that this kind of speaks to two sort of things. One is that these things have to be sort of baked in from the very beginning.
Mhm.
I'm a firm believer that you are responsible for the community that you curate. And if you are curating a community of people who, and if you don't know about Warhammer, the optics of it, there's plenty of videos about Warhammer attracting people who see its sort of fascist imagery and enjoy the fascist imagery. I know that during the past couple of years, I've seen a lot of Trump as God Emperor memes that have been going around, and I've always wondered, what was it about Warhammer that attracted a certain kind of person, and I think it's because of the optics of it. Warhammer has a lot to do with the sort of themes of real world fascism taken into this sort of science fiction sort of thing, but Games Workshop has a duty to sort of bake in this thing. It's very easy to say at the very end, after something has happened, we don't allow neo-Nazis, we don't allow this sort of a thing. But that has been cultivated after years and years and years. And if you've set the precedence that these people are welcome inside your community, it's nearly impossible to undo those things, because then the community will just take the aspects of Warhammer that they like, and they'll just make their own insular community of people that are fascist and enjoy Warhammer. So I think that Warhammer now really has to look at themselves, and Games Workshop has to look at themselves and say, what have we been doing entirely baked in to our community that discourages this kind of community, this kind of behavior, that does not attract these people to us, and that lets them know this is not the community, not the space for them. That's something that they have to figure out now. A statement is not going to do it at the end of something like this, because I mean, there's some really, I deep dived after this, because this whole thing happened right before we went on break for Thanksgiving. I deep dive into this. There are some really dark Warhammer sections of the internet, you guys.
Yeah.
I would not recommend going in looking for them as I did. But like, yeah, there's some really strange people are attracted to Warhammer's aesthetics. And so I just think that Games Workshop has to look at itself and ask itself, why are we so attractive to this group? What are we doing? What have we done? And how can we undo those things? Because I mean, the kernel's already been popped, it's hard to unpop a kernel.
Yeah.
It's a strange metaphor I just thought of, but you got the point.
Yeah. And every time we talk about this, it's come up many times on the show about either problematic creators or problematic companies. We're not instantly saying go burn all of your Warhammer stuff in a fire. I think sometimes people hear these things and have an instant bad reaction to that, and put up a wall. All of a sudden it's like, I can't listen to this, can't hear anything bad. We're not asking for that. A more important thing for you to do, if you love this game, if you love the community that has come up around it, and there are good things in there, is to take in this information and become proactive in the communities, in your online spaces. Just really become aware of this kind of thing and become part of the solution.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Up next, we have some good news. Javion, if you want to kick us off with our next headline.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've ever heard of the board game Trivial Pursuit, you may have heard of the TV show that it's based off of. The TV show that's based off of the board game. Well, a beloved television figure that we've spoken about before, I believe, and a lot of us love, LeVar Burton, is being tapped to partner with Hasbro's media subsidiary, Entertainment One, to make a new modern Trivial Pursuit TV show. So for anybody who's been living under a rock, has never been forced to play a game of Trivial Pursuit with their family, I'll just tell you how to play it right now. Basically, you roll a die and you move on the board, hoping that you land on one of these 6 different colored spaces, and you try to answer trivia questions. So it's just a trivia game. And the TV show typically has a bunch of people all competing to answer questions, and the quicker you answer the question, the more points you get, until you get to the showdown round, where you start answering questions on a more like Jeopardy style basis. And speaking of Jeopardy, if you haven't already been a part of the big wave of people that have been asking for LeVar Burton to become the permanent host of Jeopardy, just so you know, LeVar Burton was a host of Jeopardy after Alex Trebek tragically passed away. And everybody loved him. He was amazing. It was awesome. I watched every single one of them. It was so good. He was great at it. He was amazing, as we all knew he would be. And for some reason, they didn't want to keep him on the show. And everybody, signing online petitions or just, speaking out and sending emails and messages and phone calls to the Jeopardy team, just, telling them this is who we want to do it. But LeVar Burton actually did change his mind. And he said that, I appreciate all of the community support, but I don't want to do Jeopardy anymore. And I say, good for you, LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
You are too big for Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Make your own show.
You're better than that.
You're better than Jeopardy.
So so the whole thing was like the original host had passed away, and they had multiple guest hosts kind of fill in while they tried to find who was going to be a permanent host. And LeVar Burton, beloved LeVar Burton, who I just realized really has been in every generation, has had a major LeVar Burton moment. He was in Roots, which was huge for my mother and father. He was in Reading Rainbow, which was huge for a generation of kids to talk about literacy. And then he was in Star Trek: The Next Generation, arguably, and I'll say it because nobody can fight me because I live alone, the best Star Trek. It's the best. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, next generation, my generation.
I mean, we can talk about D Space Nines, we can talk about stuff like that, but it was the one that had the widest appeal, universally loved, blah, blah, blah. So, I think that LeVar Burton, he also has an incredible podcast. If you guys,
it's the best. It's the best.
It's called LeVar Burton Reads, and he reads to you. He reads adult science fiction and fantasy, and it's so soothing and relaxing. I hate to say it, half the time I fall asleep halfway through. So soothing. And so then I wake up and I listen to the rest of it. Anyway, so there was a lot of controversy because he was so popular when he had done the guest hosting of Jeopardy. People loved him. Everybody wanted him to be the permanent pick. Unfortunately, they did not go with him, and we don't really know the reasons why. The two people that they were going back and forward with are two very controversial people, including a person who is an anti-vaxxer, and it didn't make any sense. There were so many campaigns. There were so many things that we were writing of being please let LeVar Burton, but the powers that be at NBC, CBS, they didn't want to let it happen. So now he's going to do his own thing, which I think is great. I don't believe that they have has it already been picked up? Have they?
Yeah, so LeVar Burton is already partnered with Entertainment One. So there's not a whole lot of detail on surrounding the announcement. So we can't say anything 100% sure. But it's very promising. It's very promising.
It is yet to have a station pick up it. So station, I sound like an old woman. It doesn't. They've partnered together with a producing partner, but they don't have a what's the word that I'm looking for? There's no, not distribution, not station, because that makes you sound like an old person. But we don't know where it's going to be seen. So they could sell it either to television network, or I would much prefer that they sell it to a Hulu or a Netflix. I think that would do really well with his community, because it's a lot of online people. It's a lot of his largest fan base, I would argue, would probably be millennials who grew up on him with reruns of Roots and Reading Rainbow and Star Trek. And most of us are online. So hopefully with how promising this looks, we love it. We love LeVar Burton. Trivial Pursuit, we love Trivial Pursuit. It's like the number one holiday game in my house. And I think it'll be picked up by somebody soon. It's gotta be. It's picked up by somebody.
Absolutely. It's a cool format, and a lot of people really love trivia.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people. I'm very bad at trivia. I don't like things that I'm bad at. But I love LeVar Burton, and I love game shows.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna watch it.
It's fun watching other people do trivia.
Yes,
and they have to suffer through it, and you can be over here feeling smart about figuring it out, or not, at least not feeling dumb. You don't figure it out.
You just learn something new.
Yeah.
Wow,
educational.
Yes,
very important.
Very educational.
All right, up next in our board game news, we have some exciting Marvel Multiverse announcements. More of the RPG details have been released. This is for Marvel Multiverse, that's a tongue twister, role-playing game. So there's a role-playing game coming. It's based on the Marvel Multiverse. Lots of very rich content there. It's set to hit retail on March 30th, 2022. The interesting wrinkle here is that it is the playtest that will hit retail. So they're planning on retailing it for $9.99. The book's going to be 104 pages, going to have character creation, basic scenario, and profiles of popular characters. And the full game is set to release in 2023. So yeah, this is really new for a tabletop role-playing game, at least in the corporate space. It's definitely on places, sites like itch.io, you have a lot of works in progress and things being developed over time, and people are paying for earlier versions of things. But I think this is the first time we've really seen a playtest rulebook from a big company come out, which is interesting. I really hope that people are going to be aware that it is a playtest version and they are paying for a playtest version. As we talked about before the show, there's potentially some concerns about free labor. You know, people, are they still going to be paying people to playtest this? Or are they going to be relying on the community to do it and give them the feedback? But on the other hand, the community is going to do that anyways, whether it's a playtest version or not. Any role-playing game that comes out, any game that comes out, you know, I'll tell you firsthand, people are more than happy to tell you exactly how the game should have been created. So
this is, I guess I'm a little confused about this because I feel like the playtest model has always been useful for smaller indie people who can't hire like, groups that can test it and things like that. I'm confused about Marvel doing something like this. Like, for sure, can't they hire people to play test their games, to do a public play testing? It just feels, I don't know if this is normal. This is just like play testing is just a standard, but I've only ever really seen it used for like indie creators to be able to make a better product because they can't afford the groups, you know.
It's really reminiscent of like early access, like indie games are like, but like now in a physical form. And you're right, like for like a bigger company, like they're dipping their toes into another way to earn money off of their product before it's even fully finished. Like I know we've seen this before so many times with digital media.
It would be interesting to see if they take the feedback. I think that's going to be the biggest thing, because the thing of playtesting, you can only do it on such a big scale. You can do it with dozens, like up to 100 people, but a game this large can eventually go out across millions of people with different experiences. And it's impossible to play test at that large of a scale and to find out everything. So it could very easily go either way. Either it's going to be an amazing thing where they're able to catch some things, you know, everything from tricky rules or systems that don't work to problematic issues that could come up, that they could potentially, this is basically leaving the door open for them, even regardless of what people say, just them having a little more time to look at it in the public sphere and say, we like this, we don't like this. And I think I come down on, I like the part putting a game out there and you're allowed to change it. So with a lot of these things, when it's released, you know, D&D, you can't change the core rule book, right? Unless you make another edition, addendums and things, but people get very committed. Once you say this is the rules, people get very serious about that. So this idea that, hey, we're leaving it open to change some of the things in here, I'm very interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if they take it this seriously. I mean, I would assume they would. This is like a win-win for them. Like, they get to be able to make a better product, to take all of your different advice and everything like that, and they make a smooth couple $1,000s at the same time. You pay them. This is kind of like, I mean, I wish that they had, instead of being like, oh, this is a play test, just been like, this is an early sneak peek, and we reserve the right. I mean, it's only $10. I say only $10,
Mm.
but because that, but at the same time, as much as we all know how much we've spent on games and books and things like that, I feel like $10 to try something for Marvel, yeah, that might be worth it. But when it does come out though, 2022, is that the year that it's going to come out? 2023. It's going to be huge. It's going to be just, you're telling me that a bunch of grown men in their 30s can role play as Wolverine? Over with. Okay. It's every dude I know who's between the age of 41 and 29. It's we get it. Wolverine's your favorite. You want Hugh Jackman to come back and play Wolverine? He won't, okay? He wants to go back to Broadway. Let the man rest, okay? Sorry, I'm tired of talking to nerds about Hugh Jackman returning to Marvel, okay?
Oh, man.
That's fair.
He wants to go back. He wants to sing and dance. Let him dance.
Let him dance.
Sorry.
All right, Javion, you have some more tabletop role-playing game news for us.
Yeah, I do. Goodman Games is releasing Mutant Crawl Classics, the core rulebook, to retail. So if you are a fan of Dungeon Crawl Classics or any of the other Goodman Games products, you'll know that Mutant Crawl Classics is already out. It's already been released about 4 years ago, actually. And previously, it's only been a little accessible through supplementary materials that you could find in retail and maybe a couple of events that you might see at your FLGS. And a lot of their stuff was available for purchase through their website, Goodman Games. But now it's going to have a much wider release coming this month in December. You might see it in your retail space or sphere. It will be $25 for the softcover edition that has some cover art made by Doug Kovacs, or you can get the Mutant Astronaut edition, the hardcover, for $60. Or if you'd like to save a little bit of money, you can go to their website and you can get both the print and the PDF edition of the rules for Mutant Crawl Classics from Goodman Games, shipped straight to you. So $40 plus shipping. So if you haven't heard of Dungeon Crawl Classics, it is old school RPG fantasy. So back when like D&D was just getting started out, and there was a lot of fantasy RPGs that were similar. It had this sort of atmosphere, very brutal combat and high lethality. And Mutant Crawl Classics is much the same, but in sci-fi. So instead of having elves and dwarves, you might have aliens and robots, mutants and shamans, interstellar travel, and post-apocalyptic 70s style dystopias, I suppose. I have played DCC myself, and if you are a fan of DCC and you really like it like I do, because I think it's really fun, and you haven't tried Mutant Crawl Classics, it is completely compatible with Dungeon Crawl Classics. So you can have it as a standalone thing, or you can just add a bunch of stuff to your campaign and mix the fantasy and the sci-fi together. The RPG's weird enough already. It wouldn't be that much weirder to add some mutants and some spaceships too. So yeah, that should be coming later this month.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Our next RPG news is a little more questionable potentially. Some criticism perhaps coming out about that. Bonsai, how about you lead us into that?
Wow. Yes, I am taking care of all the spice news today. So for just a quick, Cortex Prime basically has licensed out a new style of new style of licensing, or not really style of licensing. It's something that worked in different communities, but now is coming to the RPG tabletop community. So Cortex Prime, the update for basically a decades old RPG, recently re-released their licensing guidelines, which rules are offered to free community license for non-commercial titles. Basically they can use their system to make their own books, but and then license for non-commercial titles and commercial license for free titles to sell, which is kind of got some red flags for people, because with this statement, they're saying that everything that other people, these independent artists, these independent authors, and people who are making these role-playing guides that off of the Cortex Prime system is going to be like part of Cortex Prime. Like legally, they can kind of just have all of it. Many, like, that's the big concern, because it's like, hey, this is free for the community create and use, but are you going to then take what the committee creates and uses and then sell it as your own is the bigger thing. From my understanding, it's a copy left license, which is a lot of things. If you are a coder or in the coding community that people use, it's more of like, I have this branch, this is my original code. You take that code and then make it so your code can also be used by somebody else as their code, is how I'm understanding this license agreement. The other big controversy has to deal with their Section 4 action, which states that they have like certain things that are not going to be allowed to be part of the Cortex Prime system. One of the bigger words that they're like, of course, under the the obvious, we don't want anything that's too vulgar, to like racial and ethnicity, like ethnic what is it called? What's the word? Offending. They also have a big statement that people are like, ooh, big red flag is the use of the word harmful to minors, which a lot of people in various different communities, especially the queer LGBTQ community, is used against that organization. They're like, oh, it's harmful to the children. You can't let the people know that you can have same-sex love, kind of thing. So that's what a lot of people are just like, ooh, please, that's kind of scary. I understand the reasoning. It's like just hearkening back to that first story we talked about. People sometimes need to have clearly rules, even though in our head we know, hey, yeah, Nazis are bad. Don't do that. Don't come here with that. But they're going to be like, no, you didn't say that in the rules. I don't see it in the rules. So this is kind of like a legally thing to like not allow systems that would have like in canon use the Cortex Prime a racial war, or in contents basically doing terrible things to people that is like, you know, triggering to a lot of people. But yes, that is things. There is a lot of understandable things that people are kind of like, hey, speaking out about, but it is good to note that people are catching these things early and making it known to folks, especially for the free art licensing creative community.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for bringing up that topic. Definitely something that has a big chance to affect creators and the community at large. Yeah. Isabella, I believe you have some decorating news for the discerning board gamer, some products we can potentially add to our maison.
Oh, oui, oui.
Oh.
Tu parles en français.
Un petit peu.
Oui, oui, c'est très bon. Yes, so if you got a spare £3,000, which I didn't translate into real actual American money, quick, somebody do that real quick. They
4,200.
$4,200 actual real dollars,
Yeah,
not
sure.
the made up money of British pounds. Use the euro, Britain. Anyway, so Hendrix Gin has come out with a gaming chaise lounge. Now, everybody, we all know the gaming chair, the infamous gaming chair. Okay, I'm not going to point out, names. I'm going to name names or anything like that. But the gaming chair is for children. Okay, I said it. Real adults, we use a gaming lounge. Okay, a gaming chaise. Okay, not a chase. Okay, if I hear you say chase, it's on. Okay, it's a chaise lounge. Okay, that's how you pronounce it. Okay, soft vowels. All right. The company of Hendrix Gin, which if you drink gin, bless you, your breath probably smells like the backlot of a Christmas tree emporium. But if you're going to drink gin, that's what gin tastes like. It tastes like Anyway, the best kind of a gin is Hendrix gin, and they've come out with a gaming chaise lounge. This beauty is a 7-foot long, upholstered green and copper velvet. Okay, it has cushioned seats underneath, which are good for storing game boxes and also cocktail supplies and bottles of alcohol. It has retractable arms that are good for grasping bottles, you know, so you can put the arms up and you can go and things like that. This is the height of luxury. Okay, we're moving past. You've got your gaming chairs, which look like it looks like the upright position of a race car bed. Okay, we're not doing that anymore. Okay, we're moving on to upholstered gaming apparatus lined in velvet. Okay, I think that this is a really cute thing. There's only one that will be made. You can only buy it. My co-hosts, unfortunately, don't believe that this is a real product. I think that this is a real product. Do I think it's a gimmick? Absolutely, this is a gimmick. But I do think that one I was going to denigrate them, but honestly, if I had $3,000 laying around, I would totally buy this. One person will be able to get it. The press release from Hendrix, apparently it's a lighthearted, they call it a lighthearted response to the global gaming boom and subsequent rise of functional and performance-driven gaming chairs. So they're making fun of the gaming chairs. They also see how big gaming has gotten over the past few years. I think this is very interesting. If there are any liquor companies that want to sponsor me, please, I am open to it. Chambord, if you're open for gaming sponsorships, I am open. I love your raspberry liqueur. It goes good with everything. Okay. Kraken rum. I live in Seattle. Listen, sponsor me. Like
Hey.
Kraken, I mean, an embarrassing amount of Kraken rum I've drunk in my life. Okay. So I think that this is really cool. It really kind of shows that like different kind of companies are paying attention to the gaming world more so than we really think. And I'm super jealous of this person who is going to get this gaming chaise lounge. Let me sit on it.
Look, if it's not real, it will be after this news gets out. People are going to flood them with requests, and they're going to realize that this is a avenue for income, and they're going to make it. It's going to become a thing.
Yes.
We're going to want one. It's going to become the new hotness in the board game industry.
If they make it reality, they just got to fix the back because you can't feign in that couch. It's not you hit the wall. It's too abrupt.
It's not for that. It's
that's what that's for. It's for fainting. It's for dramatic fainting.
For Settlers of Catan, you know, as you're hanging out in your velvet bathrobe. I welcome any company that does furniture to make a cheaper knockoff of this, so that we can all afford to have gaming chaise lounges. I absolutely love this, and I think it's gonna hop on just like Arby's roast beef dice. When are you gonna make more roast beef, Arby's?
I never got mine.
I know. We don't know what to know. Do they smell like roast beef? That was all I wanted to know. All right. The next bit, I'm gonna make this very quick because we're off the rails. A Shanghai airport seized nearly 8 tons of counterfeit bootleg Pokemon cards. 8 tons of bootleg Pokemon cards that was caught in this airport. That is nearly, if you grow up in America and like me and you can't do that kind of math inside your head, 17,000 pounds of counterfeit bootleg Pokemon's cards. Okay? This is really insane. The business news outlet Yakai Global reported over 7.6 tons of cards received at the Pudong Airport in Shanghai on November 23rd. This is being called one of the biggest fake hauls in recent years, which is wild to think because of the fact that, like, you know, so many counterfeit goods come across the country. I would be lying if I said that I did not have a fake Chanel or something or other. I didn't know it was fake at the time, or maybe I did. But at the same time, this idea of fake Pokemon cards, 17,000 pounds out into the market. which could have just been sold. We all know that Pokemon cards right now are being sold for exorbitant amounts of money. That Pokemon cards actually went through what's the word that I'm looking for? There was a shortage that was going on globally with Pokemon cards. It was really hard to get them for a really long time because of supply chain losses. There's boats in the harbor. It was a whole mess. Okay. And now that we've seized this is not going to be the only seizing of counterfeit Pokemon cards or counterfeit cards that are going to be going up. So this is kind of a moral, not a moral thing, but kind of a thing for a heads up. Check your Pokemon cards. Some of these cards, you could tell that they were bootlegs because it was some of the boosters had Spanish on them, which is Juego de Cartas Coleccionables. Ooh. And that was pretty good. That was all right.
Yeah.
And so that's if you want to read the article about how to actually spot the counterfeit cards, you're going to have to look to see, because if you guys are out here spending money, like real money, like hundreds up to thousands of dollars on Pokemon cards, only to find out that you have a counterfeit card, your feeling is going to be real hurt.
Darn Team Rocket.
Yeah, this is something Team Rocket would do. Jesse, where are you at? And so I think one of the things is that this has happened before. It'll happen since. This is only one of the biggest things that have happened. There have actually been some live streamers who have also got counterfeit cards as well. And this is about 900,000 cards. It's a huge it's a huge scandal, and I don't think that this will be the last. So check your Pokemon cards before you drop any money on them whatsoever. Yeah. Okay, that Charizard card, you see Charizard, and his name is Charablarg. Okay, that's not a real Charizard card.
I'm just imagining millions of Mimikyu cards just piling out of the back of a van on the street.
You see,
spitting out.
You shake them, and it's just a Ditto card.
Yeah.
Ditto.
You know, you see one is called Pikachu, you know, something like that. That's not a real Pikachu card, you know. Just check, gotta check.
All right, well, that's all of our news for today and this week. That's not it though yet, because we still have the bundles, and who better to tell us about the bundles than the bundle boss, who is Javion, of course. Best boss. Hashtag best boss.
Yeah, let's talk about some bundles, y'all. Let's talk about charity. Let's talk about giving back to the community and staying safe. Let's talk about PDFs. We've got the bundle of holding. Paranoia 2004. Pick up the 2004 Mongoose version of everyone's favorite sci-fi comedy conspiracy game, Paranoia. For just $10, you get the base rulebook, a bunch of really cool splat books, and a GM screen with a mission generator. So you don't have to generate missions on your own. The GM screen does that for you. For around $20, you get the level up. So you get more splat books that are really cool, and also a bunch of fun adventures. Because according to the person who is very excited about Paranoia and told us about this for the week, it's great for one-shots. So always having pre-cooked adventures around is a good thing. Okay, and then our other bundle of holding this week is Indie Cornucopia 9. So if you like indie RPGs, you get a bunch, and you get so much bang for your buck because you get 3 indie RPGs that I actually thought really, really cool for only $13. These are all PDFs, by the way. And you get Iron Sworn, which is a fantasy RPG that you can play solo. You can literally, no GM necessary. Just play it in your house alone with the lights down, and go into the Ironlands. Take your oath to help the king with something, probably fighting some monsters, going out into the wilds of the Ironlands. It seems really cool. Also, you get Impulse Drive, which is an apocalypse engine game where you go out into space and you're trying to make a home for yourself in the stars, while also having a lot of inspiration from Farscape, Firefly, Mass Effect. You know the titles. You know this is a sci-fi RPG, and it's indie. Oh, and then also Opera House is a very weird RPG where it's not. I wouldn't call it an Opera House simulator, but rather Opera House drama simulator. You are hired on, maybe you're an actress, maybe you are a dancer, I don't know. But you join the opera and then ghosts are haunting everything. Oh, and there's talking rats and cursed props and you might die. So,
Huh?
you know, just opera house things. Um, and you get a ton of other cool indie RPGs. So definitely check out the Indie Cornucopia 9 because all of these bundles benefit Direct Relief, which is a organization, a nonprofit um, uh, charity that uses the proceeds to expand vaccine access and medical equipment to the people who need them the most in this pandemic. So please check it out, play some RPGs at home, and help a good cause. Help stop the spread of COVID by playing an opera house drama.
I love it. Be operatic, be dramatic. Last but not least, we have a few Kickstarters we want to mention today. Some exciting stuff here. So let's dive right into it. I believe Javion, you're up first.
All right. So, you guys know how much I love goblins. Well, yet another 5e adventure of goblins has arrived on Kickstarter. You get to be a goblin, which is not a goblin, but a baby goblin. You just spawned out of the goo, and you go out trying to find something, anything that the queen won't hate, and bring it to her, while also trying not to die. There is a very cute but just a little bit concerning picture of the goblins or goblings carrying a pot with a little kitty inside some stew, trying to bring it to the queen. Maybe the queen likes cats. I don't know. Goblins are kind of notorious for eating small creatures or riding them because, goblins are small and they like to ride small animals as their mounts. It's very cute. I really hope you guys check this out. It looks like it's going to be really cool. It is going to end in 17 days. So Tuesday, December 21st is your last chance. Check out this Kickstarter for only £8 or $10 to get the digital version of the Goblins 5e adventure.
The next one that I have is Reach of the Roach God, a part of 1,000 Islands. This one ends Wednesday, December 8th. This is a system neutral RPG campaign inspired by the vast cave system of Southeast Asia. This is awesome to me. The caves of Southeast Asia are some of the most beautiful, mysterious, strange, wonderful, miraculous cave systems in the world. Underground waterfalls, holes that go down, and they don't know how far the holes go down into the water, and they don't know where the end of the holes are. The cave systems in Southeast Asia are amazing. This is a full-length adventure book from 1,000 Islands. This is a Southeast Asian fantasy world building project. The book is a 23.4 by 15.6 centimeter, the metric system, hardcover. This is about 200 to 300 pages of beautiful black and white text illustrations. And you can use this in any of your RPG kind of setups that you want to. There's also been a lot of extensive research done into Southeast Asian art, culture, history, mythology that kind of congeals into this. If you look on it, the religious aspects of it was really great. There's 3 starter adventures that you can go into: remote monastery, village abductions, or mediate between the surface living and the underground dead. This is really cool. Love it. Really awesome. If you're looking to kind of expand, you're tired of your Vikings. You're tired of your medieval Europe, which for some reason doesn't have diversity in it. Although in reality, medieval Europe really was a very diverse place and had a lot of Black people, and there was a lot of trade that was going on between all the different races and different things like that. But you don't want to talk about that right now. That's a controversial opinion to have. Anyway, this one ends Wednesday, December 8th. Check it out. Reach of the Roach God, a part of 1,000,000 Islands.
Awesome. Okay. Our next Kickstarter is Lo-Fi Bards to Study and Relax to, a chill fantasy TTRPG. Have you ever wanted to go to a magic school, but you're allergic to hard work? This is an RPG based around music, barding, but also studying and lower stakes, more of the high school experience, less of the whirlwind adventuring experience. So the stakes that we're dealing with here isn't slaying giant monsters or saving the world from world-ending events. We're talking about making sure you don't miss class or acing the test or making sure that your friends feel emotionally supported. So it's a very simple, relaxed, and very light on rules game, so you can very easily pick it up and start playing it. It's a new system, but you'll probably notice a lot of similarities to Powered by the Apocalypse. And for those of you who don't know, you just roll 2 6-sided dice, and if you get a 10 or higher, you succeed. A 7 and 9, you succeed at a price, and then you fail if you roll anything else, and you get like some stat bonuses for being really good at certain things, but your only stats in this one is going to be study and heart. So it's really just a chill RPG, just like the name states. The Kickstarter is going to end in 3 days, so it's already fully funded. I highly recommend it if you want something that's a very lightweight, kind of chill RPG, which with some magic involved. Something definitely pretty cool to check out if you're looking for something quick to play with your friends. If you are just in between different RPGs and you want to try something new, I always recommend trying some more indie RPGs like this one. Lo-Fi Bards to study and relax to.
Awesome. Amazing Kickstarters. Always fun to check this out if you're looking for places to spend your money. Probably not Christmas gifts, I guess, because you won't get it in time, but get it in someone's name. Like, back this Kickstarter in your name, right? That could be a present. Maybe.
That's awesome, actually.
PDFs.
I would
PDFs
love that.
Can be great. Yeah.
Are you kidding? If somebody bought me a Kickstarter, was like, when it comes, I'll just give it to you, but just so you know it's coming, I'd be so excited. I'd be so happy because I wouldn't have to miss out on the Kickstarter because I didn't pay for it in time because it just couldn't show up in time or whatever.
Spirit of giving. All right, that's all we have for today. 4 table takes, but stick around. Don't go anywhere because we are about to have the Coyote and Crow live stream charity one shot starting at 4:30 p.m. 7:30 Eastern time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So it's coming up in a little less than half an hour. But wait, there's more. We have lots of great stuff on this channel. If you want to check out things related to board gaming, Mondays at 6 p.m. we have Board Games of the Brothers Murph. Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, we have This Game Gets Dicey. And then, of course, every Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, we have TableTakes where we talk about board game news. Remember, if you've enjoyed this show, to follow, subscribe, turn on notifications. Anytime you miss a show, you can find most of the streams on YouTube. So it's the Gen Con YouTube channel. And have the links for all the stuff in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Bonsai, Javion, and Isabella. It has been a pleasure and an honor to work with you, and I appreciate you all so much. And thank you,
Emma, we're gonna miss you.
Hi, Emma.
Goodbye, Emma.
Bye, Emma. Everyone say bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Emma.
Goodbye.
Thank you. you. I'm gonna miss you, but I'll be here. We'll be in touch. And I'm always happy to come back on the show and chat with you all. So yeah, thank
Also,
you,
we're probably
viewers.
probably gonna do newses. You're gonna pop up in our news feed. Be like, hey,
Yes.
Emma used to be a host here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't hear news. I heard nudes. I was like, what, Emma?
So
Emma's really moving on to pictures.
okay. Good job, Emma. Did it. You
On
made
that
it.
note, we're going to tap out here, but stay tuned. Don't go anywhere because we're going to have an awesome one shot with Coyote and Crow. Bye, folks. Stay
Bye.
around, hang out,
Bye,
don't
Emma.
leave.